We're recording. And we should be streaming. We've got ignition. We're streaming.
Are you Marklyn or Mr. Direct today?
I'm always, what are you talking about?
You don't remember a couple of times ago?
No.
It said Mr. Direct and you had to fix it. I watched it. Don't even with me.
You're watching one of the previous videos before I gave you green screen.
Here's the thing. You're over there looking at, see, I got to look us up on my phone so I can see what I look like, how beautiful I look.
You see, I'm not messing with you anymore. I'm not messing. Look, I got the alert that Mr. Direct is live, because now the cross posting. So now all my pages are cross posting. So I'm super excited. I'm super excited.
Fancy.
I'm
and technologically savvy.
It throws a friend of mine. I was talking to a friend of mine who's helping me produce some street interviews, and in the conversation, I said to her, you know, the reason why podcasting is so hard for me is because I have to do the production and I have to host. And it's hard because I rather either produce and run the production or just host. Okay. Like, you need a team around you. So, and it's so hard. One of the things that's hard in the production world that a lot of people don't know when you're doing a podcast is getting people who play their roles, play their positions, because everybody's got their hand out, right? Mm-hmm. So if one guy says, I'm a social media god, I could get your shit to the stratosphere.
Oh, you're talking about like the pushing it out kind of thing.
Then it's like you need to find someone that says, I'm a social media god, I'll get it to the lights. I remember bringing a woman down here, a young girl down here, and she said, I need $200 a week. And I said,
she thought you were going to pay her to be on your podcast.
And I said to her, I go, I'm not paying you $200 a week when you're not giving me results. There's no guaranteed results. Right. I'm going to pay you $200 a week with no guaranteed results. She goes, well, you see how I built my page? I go, no. Like, how many other pages? I said to her, how many other pages? So for showing up
and being on your podcast?
No, to do the work in the background.
Oh,
and I get it. It was a job. And I said, no, this is an internship. If you know how to build and if you know how to take somebody's social media and push it,
right,
then that's what I need you to do.
You needed her to monetize it.
Yeah, and then I need you to make money so you can get your money. Mm-hmm. But she wanted to know, and all of them are like, well, I did my page like this. And I'm like, yeah, you kiss my ass. It ain't happening.
That don't work with me today.
I am.
I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie.
Little feisty.
Is it feistiness?
I don't know.
Is it feistiness?
No, I don't know if it's you get like angry and grumpy. It's because he's been responding to people on the interwebs about I think when it politics.
Okay, so when we talk a little bit about trauma, let's be honest. There's a lot of people. Yeah, buddy. Look at this. All the pages. We're live on this page right now.
Oh wow.
We're live.
We're
live. People can hear us.
We're on my
I'm going to my different
personal feed.
I'm going to my different pages to make sure that they're all pushed out the proper way while I'm talking to you.
You're so fancy.
I wanted to make sure it worked, because if it didn't work, it wouldn't be worth it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, yep. We're live here too. Yeah, look at that.
Okay, there he is. Now he's happy.
Yeah, buddy.
It's gotten you feeling good.
I just got to check the pages, make sure everything's working well.
Maybe I better save this or share this somewhere.
You better share it somewhere, because you know. Yep, Mr. Direct. I got the one for the Mr. Direct was live. Yeah, so we're good there too. So okay, so all the pages all have sharing ready. We are good to go.
That's about as happy. Do you like took that as a challenge?
See, look at that.
Oh, look how nice I look.
Look, I mean, that's a picture of you.
I didn't realize we're like we're talking over our picture right now.
Yeah, I told you that when we open, we do like the first 5 or 6 minutes. Look at me in that field
of flowers.
Yes,
with that big smile. Is that
what you're calling it?
That was upstate New York at my friend Amy's house. She was taking some photos of me. I was smiling and frolicking.
Smiling and frolicking. Is that what you're calling it? In a field of
flowers. You know what's really funny about that? Back when I was dating and using apps, I used most of my photos were just whatever, selfies, shitty pictures. But there was one that I had on my profile that was from that photo shoot, and I was wearing some white thing, and I was glowing, and I was in a field of flowers, and my now husband was like, I don't know, I almost swiped the wrong way because you were looking like like a little pretentious, a little fancy for me.
Who?
What?
Who was looking pretentious?
Me. Like,
yeah,
and also, you know, where,
I can see it.
Like, based on what town it said I was from. And it's funny because at the time, like, my occupation was a yoga teacher. He thought I was like faking him out with my little professional photos and my yoga and I said I liked hiking. And apparently every girl says they like hiking. I also like that I'm calling myself a girl, not a woman. Every woman says they like hiking, and he did not believe I actually did.
Listen. But
I do.
This do be true.
Yo, you know, because you're on there. They say they like hiking. You know what he told me? He told me that he went on a date, and the girl, I say girl, I think I'm a girl. The woman said she liked hiking, and he was like, okay, let's go hiking. Me too, right? That's actually why I swipe. You swipe right if you like the person?
You swipe right if you like them, and you swipe left if you don't.
Okay,
oh my God, all my streams are going.
Oh,
yes,
you're so
I'm
excited.
So excited.
I
Yes.
swiped right on him because he was wearing like a hiking shirt, and he was in the woods in one of the pictures. So I was like, I like this guy. So he said he went on this date, and he asked the girl to go hiking because she said she liked hiking. She showed up in like shoes, like fancy shoes.
Because people don't listen. This
like
is
fancy shoes.
We could talk about that later. This is a little twisted, so we'll talk about it later.
I'm getting off the topic.
We're going to talk about it. What we got to talk about is the debate this week. Everybody saw the debate this week.
Everybody saw the damn debate this week.
So I've noticed lately I've been getting a little bit worked up over this shit because it's here's the thing. What really ticks me off is how people are talking about he's good for the economy. He's good for the economy. And I'm like, your claim that he's good for the economy when literally the 2 years he was supposed to be able to handle it, he fucked it up.
Well, I mean, talk about jumping right into it.
Like, nah,
I think we know how you feel.
I'm not slowly getting into it. He had some truths, but he had a lot more falsehoods. Right. He had 33 falsehoods. Everyone's so
it's like, I believe when they say falsehoods in fact checking, it's like lies and or exaggerations.
Yes, I believe this is my personal belief, and I'll say it again. I don't care if I turn people off when people say, "Well, you're just that one item person when you don't like him." He's a fucking racist. Period.
But for you,
he's
you're
dying.
A black
for
man,
me, I'm a black man, and the fact that people are like, "Oh, Trump's about business. Trump's about business. Forget race. Forget race." Fuck you. This man is a double talking, narcissistic, misogynistic, sexist, racist piece of shit. That's where I stand on Donald Trump. Yeah. He won't get my vote. Am I happy to be voting for Kamala? No. Why will I tell you that? Because I don't like Kamala. I don't. Kamala. Kamala. If I mispronounce her name, it's an accident. I don't want to hear it anymore.
Tell me why you don't like her.
I just don't. Listen. I didn't like Hillary.
I like her more every day.
I didn't like Clinton. I like the fact that she showed him that a black woman could be intelligent and put you in your place.
Yeah.
I love that. She got my vote.
But what
I'm voting for her. But I just
don't want to be her friend?
I would
like, what did you not like about her? I'm curious.
Her and I in real life would never be friends.
Okay, but do you need
we would never be friends, and we would never be friends because I get a sense of elitisms out of her. A sense of it.
Like,
I could be wrong.
Better than you think?
Like, I'm better. Like, I've moved myself up to a certain level.
I mean, she has.
She has. But I don't like people like that.
Well, right. You definitely are sensitive to people like the hierarchy of people. I know that about you as a person.
Yeah, like I don't like when people are like, "Oh, I see you on stages." I'm like, "Huh?" I'm like, "What does that mean?" Like it don't.
Oh, like so for you, it's
it doesn't ring.
You want people like. I want people to like me for me, not because I'm on stage.
Yeah,
and so
like,
that I don't
care what you. I don't care what you've achieved in life. You can be proud of it,
right?
But don't act like I'm supposed to treat you a certain way because you achieved that.
You think this is an interesting conversation.
I don't think she's arrogant, but I think she would be very much like you're beneath me.
Do you think if a man, and hear me out, were to be direct, clear, intelligent, and assertive, that you would think that?
Yeah.
Really?
If again, Donald Trump, Mitt Romney when he ran. Like McCain was kind of nice, but McCain was basically running on the same thing that George Bush was running on.
McCain's super conservative,
but he
wasn't a bad person.
He wasn't a bad person. Like McCain is the type of guy that I could have had a beer with.
Interesting.
Romney? No, Romney
so
came off very arrogant.
People like who
I don't like
strike
arrogance.
you as down to earth.
I don't like arrogance.
Name me some presidents you did like.
I didn't like any of them.
Yeah, because I was gonna say like they're all. I mean,
you know what? Even Obama was like has that little bit of air about him, but he earned it.
Some people say that.
He has that little bit. However, I can guarantee you, Obama would have never made me feel like I was below him.
No.
Like he would have never, like if I ran in him at a bar,
yeah,
I could see him being like, "Hey bartender, whatever he's drinking, I got you."
Right. Well,
like I could see that with people like Trump. I could see people like Trump and people like Kamala being like,
"Oh, so you feel like she's got that?
You're in my atmosphere. What did you deserve?
I don't agree. But
that's fine.
Yeah.
What did you do to deserve to be in my atmosphere? Like this is my space.
I'm gonna send you some stuff so you can see interactions with people.
I've seen some of her interactions with people, but she's also running for office.
By the way, I thought that about her in 20 whatever that first election that was such a fucking nightmare. That I saw her as the Democratic nominee in 2016 and some of her stuff, and she wasn't like top. I mean, Biden wasn't top for me either.
Gerald Ford called us. By the way, we've been running here. We got to run the commercial and get this up and running. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. We're having a great conversation.
We're too into it.
We got into it, and we didn't even take the time to actually do the dirt.
Nobody can see our beautiful faces.
So now we're going to throw it in. We'll be back in 30 seconds. I read an article a long time ago, and the article basically said that a lot of people that have personality disorders are undiagnosed.
Maybe that if people have cognitive empathy.
I'm Marklyn Johnson.
I'm Tammy Spiewak.
And this is Self-Help for Assholes. Why do you always linger on that? You got to be with me on that.
For Assholes.
So I'm Marklyn Johnson.
I'm Tammy Spiewak.
And this is Self-Help for Assholes. Hey, we're back over here. Sorry about that. Y'all didn't see us at first. I do apologize for that. I'm going to own that. That is my mistake. Now you see that we're live.
I look so short. Oh, I am.
Because you're not sitting up. That's why.
No, I am sitting up.
No, you were slouching a little bit. Now you're sitting up.
I'm sitting up.
Yes, you had a little bit of slouch going on. So here we are here on Self-Help for Assholes. We're a show where we talk about trauma and healing, but we also talk about the regular everyday things that we engage with that can create the trauma. And I've been easily triggered behind the politics of what's going on because I'm tired of people downplaying how racism is a huge part of what we're seeing going on.
Right.
And it irks me because people can't understand how can you ask a black let me explain it to you like this. How can you ask a black man to vote for a man who has the full support of the KKK?
All right, that's a ridiculous request.
When he made the statement, one of the things that stood out to me, and I wrote it on my page, and I actually explained it out on my page. I don't know if you caught it. When he said how there were fine people on both sides and said you guys took it out of context. No, we didn't. And I'm going to explain to you real quick before we get further into the discussion how we didn't.
Oh, I had this exact conversation with someone. I had it with you the other day, but someone else.
What he said was that some people came down to defend taking down the Robert E. Lee statue. How do you defend that? How do you defend it when
how would you want to keep it there when he was a slave owner?
He was a racist slave owner. So if you're defending not taking down the statue, you're basically saying I'm okay that this guy wanted to succeed.
Even if you're peaceful, you're an asshole.
You're a racist.
Yeah.
Period. Or you're a racist sympathizer.
You know what? I had the conversation with someone about, as a Jewish woman, I said, in Germany, right? Mm-hmm. After the Holocaust, they took down all of the statues of Nazi leaders. If they didn't, that would be intensely fucked up. And she, another Jewish woman said, well, that wouldn't be so. Nobody's perfect. Martin Luther King wasn't perfect. Of course he wasn't. Nobody's perfect. They still have concentration camps. Well, as they should, to show what actually happened. But we don't deify. I mean, I don't understand the deification of a leader who did something negative, bad, racist, misogynistic. So, and that's not a fine person. So even when people want to say it was taken out of context, if you look deeper, and
it's not taken out of context.
It's not.
What it is America's love to consistently and arbitrarily defend racism.
Right.
Even
well, and
if
to
you
put
look,
people in a hierarchy.
Even if you look at the way that they came out and started talking about Kamala's, I'm gonna try and say it right. I'm sorry, I don't say the name.
He's having a hard time.
It's not because I don't like her. It's just the way I see the name. It's
know.
my
And
enunciation
you know what I
brain.
said? I actually think because she is both black and Indian, her name is Indian.
Yeah.
So it's pronounced.
It's lotus. It's something. I think it's about the lotus
Kamala,
flower,
right?
It's like the lotus flower. I looked it up.
Because she's also black. Like if I were working in Brooklyn where I used to work and the population was mostly black and I saw that name on my attendance, I would have said Kamala.
Yeah, but that's.
So I don't, so that's what your brain.
I had a speech impediment and I enunciate everything's as is, as I see it, as I see the sounds. Mm-hmm. So unless I see a hyphen, so if I saw the hyphen in her name, which there isn't one when you see it.
Right.
So you're telling me Kamala, but the problem is there's no hyphen there. So because I don't see the hyphen, because the hyphen would tell me to accentuate the A more, like make it like known that there's an A, and then Mala.
Is that how that
right?
hyphen works?
Again, now some of you guys out there might be shocked that I understand the English language like that. So I'm going to school you guys in on something.
That makes you a very
educated
person.
Marklyn T. Johnson actually has an IQ of like 130 something.
Right.
Like I have a high IQ. I don't say that arrogantly. I say that like people are weird when I know these strange things. Like I suck at math, right?
Oh, me too, man.
I suck at math. However,
terrible.
I have a high IQ. I also have a high reading comprehension. I'm actually smarter. I would say
smarter than you might think.
I'm not smarter than the average person.
Well, you are,
but
if your IQ is that high.
I'm smarter than the simpletons that are out there that talk shit every day, and they're talking shit with key points. And it's I look shit up.
That was a great transition into, I think of my grandmother, my grandma Lucy, may she rest in peace. She was very liberal for her times. She used to listen to Rush Limbaugh on her little transistor radio so she could know the enemy. She called George W. the shrub, and do you know what your president did? You know, what was my point?
You lost your point, Mitzi.
Oh my
this
God,
is what
I
happens
lost my
when you get
point.
old. We were transitioning about intelligence.
Oh, you were talking about intelligence.
Yes.
No, this is very important. She would say to me in these elections when things would not go the way she and I, because we really agreed on a lot of things, she would remind me, Tammy, you have to remember that half the country is below the average intelligence. And listen, there's no data on that, but some of the conversations I'm having, like, I think what you're saying is like the facts don't line up, because facts are facts. And this idea, when we're talking about fact checking, like there was this big call from the right that was a biased debate, which I do not believe. I think those two moderators did better than I've seen in years.
Here's what I'm going to tell you about that.
Let me finish my point. That they were not fact checking. They were calling out like blatant lies and exaggerations. The fact checking happened later.
But here's the problem with the conservative voter that called it, it was biased. They don't believe that Trump should be fact checked.
No, they call that free speech.
He should be able to say whatever he wants. They don't think about the harm that his falsehoods create.
I mean, the racist dog whistles.
It's blatant. It's obvious. And when people try to mock me for it, I look at them and I go, listen, here's the deal. So like another black guy and I were talking, and he said, like I said, he goes, they're both garbage. And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, he said what I've had somebody else say to me before. And he goes, well, it's better to deal with the devil that you know than the devil that you don't.
No way.
And I said, not when the devil fucked everything up. Like he literally wrecked it when he was. He tells you
he emboldened Azzholes. And I shouldn't even. Azzholes is like a light, like way too small of a word. He emboldened really dangerous people.
Yes.
And I think, you know, it's really good if you are a rich white male who makes above, you know, the people he wants to give tax breaks to. And there's going to be someone on here that's going to try to tell me why that's wrong, and it's not. I've done my homework. I don't listen to just
what's going to turn them
media.
automatically? Some people are going to get turned off because of the fact that we mentioned racism already. The fact that we're admitting that we don't like him. The fact that I don't like him doesn't mean I can't see that.
Well, you're also admitting you don't really like your other option.
I don't like her either, but also
I do.
I admit that he's done some. There are things that he claimed that were true. We have put a lot of money into Ukraine.
Oh, hell yes.
We put a ton of money into
Yes.
Ukraine. I don't deny that.
Yeah.
But the problem I have with it is his game of, well, I could end it tomorrow. Then, motherfucker, if you could end it tomorrow, make a fucking phone call and end it. If you care about the millions of lives that are being lost, see, this is what pisses me off.
Well, I mean, it's worth, I know we have some clips, but it's worth playing some of this because of the way he goes about this is this, you know, he truly, you know, thinks of politics, global politics.
It's about his pocket.
As like currying favor and doing favors and friendships. I saw De Niro talking about how he fancies himself a gangster. Except real gangsters wouldn't be down with him.
have a clip of that. We're going to play that clip real quick, and we'll be back in a moment. And we're going to be listening to it a little bit over here with you guys. Turn your phone on, so I'm going to turn it down. So you guys ready? We're going to play the clip. You can listen to it. We'll be back in a moment.
In Kyiv right now, and understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Vice President Harris, thank you. We've heard from both of you on Ukraine tonight. Afghanistan came up in the last hour. I wanted her to respond to something you said earlier, and I'll give you a minute here.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please. He would have been sitting in Moscow, much happier than he is right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening, but he does have that. Something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went.
Okay, so you guys were able to see what he was said. There's a few things out of that one. Because you said it, how he curries favors. That's what his presidency was about when he was dealing with foreign dignitaries. It was all about, what can you do for me if you need something out of us?
Well, it's also, you're saying foreign dignitaries.
Yes.
And he seems to favor dictators.
Loves dictators.
He brought up the Hungarian prime minister,
and he said it like people love this guy.
Who's an ass.
He
talked about him and talked about him and talked about him and talked about him. And it's like he seems to have friendships with these really, really unsavory characters, and he feels it's like this. That I was saying, De Niro said he's like wants to be a gangster.
The problem is this: he's trying to use the might of America to leverage these countries. Now, what's going on, and it turns out here's what kills me. A lot of these articles make the news and then they disappear real quick. It turns out that Trump was actually trying to leverage with Putin so that he could get a hotel or a resort in Russia.
Well, it's always about him. I mean, there's rumors in the entertainment business that he only ran for president because it was a stunt to get another season of The Apprentice.
Yes.
And then once he did it, he couldn't go back because he's a narcissist. So, like, I don't know if that's true. I called it a rumor.
Part of me loves. Well, it was a marketing stunt. A friend of mine that's in real estate in New York City.
Yeah.
Said it was a marketing stunt. Just to get his name out there and keep his name out there.
He always wants people to pay attention to him.
And then when he won, he was like, "Oh shit, we won! I
better run for president now."
Right? Well, he won. So when he won the presidency and he won, like he didn't think he would get that far. And then when he won the presidency, it became okay. Now I got to leverage the presidency for my own advantage. For instance,
but it was like a series of unfortunate events.
Trump's companies made $2.1 billion while he was in office. Everyone's like, but he gave up his salary. What's 1.2 million versus 2.1 billion? When foreign dignitaries came to Washington to deal with him, they were leveraged to always stay at the hotel in Washington or Mar-a-Lago, where he raised the fees. He overcharged Secret Service for renting rooms from him for his protection.
Well, listen, it's all sort of insider stuff.
It was.
And also, can we throw in the okay?
Yeah, but hold on for a second. Trump is for Trump, not for America. He created policies that were dependent on him being there for 8 years, and not for policies that would put us up in a better situation long term.
Right.
Obama left this country better off than when he came in.
Far better off.
And people keep saying how bad of a president. He handed Trump a roaring economy.
He did.
Handed him.
And those first 2 years.
Trump claims how bad it was and how he turned it around, and he didn't.
Yeah, that's just not true.
He didn't at all. Matter of fact, most of the deregulation that he caused caused more harm. And look no further than that train that went off the rails in Palestine, Ohio. What was it called? Palestine, Ohio?
Ohio.
Something like that. And it was because of a deregulation that Trump took away that they didn't have to check the brakes.
Right.
Because companies are like, well, we're losing pennies.
Well, he's a corner cutter.
Yeah.
We know that.
So my point that I'm making to people out there is this. We're going to go through more of the shit that he said, but stop taking the optics of what Trump, like, oh, he donated so much money to the HBCUs. No, the fuck he didn't. He wrote in that they no longer have to put it through him, that it's just going to be there. Then he defunded it every year. In his budget, it was pull the money away from them. Because most people don't pay attention to the budget. Except for the important stuff that they care about.
You're saying stuff that, to be fair, I don't
But
pay
I looked all this up.
But I think something you spoke to really well when you said Trump is for Trump.
Yes.
The thing that I noticed at this debate more than anything, and I'm on one hand, yeah, sure, I'm typically a Democrat. I'm pretty progressive, especially socially. And I watch debates. I watched the whole Republican debate, which he didn't show up at.
Tells you right there the problem.
I have been politically informed my whole life. I've always been interested. What I noticed about the two of them and their communication styles, so this is me putting on my, coach mental health hat.
Yeah.
He said she and they continuously. He did not look at her. He did not say her name. He did not.
I'm not interrupting you, but did you notice what did you just said? I want to emphasize that he would not look at her when he addressed her.
No.
Now, for some of you, you're going to say that makes no difference. Again, when I talk to you about racism, That was a way of otherizing her and saying she doesn't deserve my respect.
Right,
to
it was
acknowledge,
misogynistic, it was racist, it was I'm an asshole, let's just make it
I don't have to
what it
acknowledge
is.
your presence.
So,
I don't have to.
That's right.
I don't have to. And what he's doing is he's showing his supporters, you don't have to recognize the presence of those that you don't like or favor either.
It was
because you're setting that example. Well, if he could do it, we could do it.
Well, it's misogynoir at its finest. Look that up if you want to know more. That's for another time. But she walked straight up to him. She shook his hand.
And said her name.
She said her name. During the debate, she said me. She said you while looking out at the audience.
Yes.
She looked at him when she gave her answers.
Yes.
She called him by his name.
Yes.
She did not play at that game. And people who support him will have a million reasons why that's not a big deal. If you are a woman, if you are not white, if you are in any way marginalized or other, it's like a direct attack on you.
100%.
And when I am
100%.
being, you know, when we create a hierarchy of people and a ladder of people, and that is the culture that we stand behind. As you say, you can take it even further and say he's got the endorsement of the KKK. I mean, it's pretty easy for a black man or a woman who believes in human rights to go.
Every pro-white group has said Trump speaks for us. He has our full support. They were robocalling for him.
Well, wait, you know, it's like white supremacists like this guy.
And here's the thing. Years ago, and I'm going back before Obama, every candidate that had white supremacist support would be laughed off the stage. Laughed off the stage. People would be like, I'm not going to support a dude.
I don't know. W is a Christian evangelical,
but
born
he wasn't.
again.
But he didn't. He
wasn't looking for those endorsements.
He didn't placate to them for votes. Donald Trump.
He wasn't. No.
Donald Trump is
more covertly.
Donald Trump is such a narcissistic piece of shit that for him, he knew I got to placate to every piece of shit that's out there that has a problem with the country changing. And this is why I say it in a book that I wrote. Obama getting elected changed the world as we see it.
Yes.
Because people had to come to grips that black people can be as, if not more intelligent than them. Right. That we are qualified to fill these positions. It wasn't even that he was black,
it's that he was intelligent and articulate. And
it was the fact that Donald Trump is who they wanted. They wanted Obama to be Donald Trump and Donald Trump to be Obama. They wanted Donald Trump to run like an asshole, and then when he gets in, to be smooth, suave, and sophisticated and being like, hey, I'm a charmer. I know how to talk to people. And when he didn't, they had to double down on the protection of him because it's like, holy shit, we look like idiots because we're protecting this piece of shit.
Well,
now flip that around. They wanted Obama to be the bumbling, stumbling fool.
He was not.
Which they criticized him for anything. The stuff that they allowed Trump to get away with, they criticized Obama on. Imagine
it's again and again. Like, what about the abortion issue and his lies about Democrats, Republicans, and everyone else supporting changing Roe versus Wade?
Speaking of that, we got a video for that.
Oh, you do?
We got a video for that. Hold on for a second.
Let's chat about that for
Here, we're going to talk about this. This next segment up is the Roe versus Wade conversation.
To the issue of abortion, President Trump, you've often touted that you were able to kill Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before, He said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years. They've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions. Very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue. Every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue.
We're done with his lies. First
I mean,
of all,
that one is so blatant.
First of all, what he's referring to is if a baby is born with a health issue and they have to decide he or she is not going to have the quality of life.
Well, and talking about it, it's something where it's a fatal health issue. The child is not going to comfortably live.
That they make it. It's sort of like. So I'm going to say this to you, and it's kind of hard for me to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it. When I had moved home in 2014, in September, roughly, my father had fallen ill. Mm-hmm. And when he fell ill, he had a surgery and he put him on a respirator. And his anniversary of death is coming up for 10 years. And the doctor came in and said his quality of life, he'll probably be on a respirator for the rest of his life if you want him to live on. Right? Mm-hmm. I made a mistake of saying it in front of him, and his hand jerked and he said no. My dad waved. He heard. So even though he had a respirator in, he could hear. No, he waved his hand. He was like, "You're not going to have me living on a machine."
Right. Because
my mother was on a machine for a while, and he took her. Like, that's not a way to live.
Right. So he was able to communicate.
I came home, and I read his living will, and his living will basically said, "Do not resuscitate," which means if I have to live on a machine, let me go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to have that conversation with my aunt, with my uncle who's passed away, was my dad's brother, and my aunt, because they were the living entities.
Right.
And I said, this is, I'm bringing you guys in. This is what he wanted. I wanted you guys to be here to understand. And I broke down in tears. I said, I feel like I'm killing my father. Mm-hmm. And they're like, you're not. This is his wish. And I go, it still feels like you're killing your father.
Yeah.
That's why I don't talk about that.
And the point is this is a traumatic decision.
It is.
This is not easy in any case.
It's been hard for me to deal with his death because in a way I feel like I killed him because I had to. I'm going to be completely honest, transparent with you guys.
Right. You feel like you made the choice.
I made that choice even though it was written out legally.
Right.
By him. But now imagine you've got a baby and a baby's quality of life is going to be shit. The baby's quality of life is going to be on a respirator. They're going to have brain damage. They're going to be using all types of resources that the baby's quality of life will never be an independent, right? Somebody's always going to have to take care of this kid. The baby outlives us because it's constantly being taken care of.
Yeah.
Who are we passing this kid on to?
Right. Well, there's so many reasons that it's not okay for that child.
So when the doctor comes to the parents and say, listen, the quality of life is going to be shit, you might want to consider that's not murder.
Right. And it's not execution. It is not abortion after birth. There is no such
But that's what
thing.
he was referring to because those numbers were on the incline. But the reason why that number is on the incline is because all the drugs that people take now, how you've got birth a lot defects, of people. Yeah. There was a girl that I knew who had a webbed toe, right? And she said, I think there was a drug that they gave my mother when she was pregnant with me.
Oh, yeah.
And that caused that type of defect.
Right.
But it was a legal drug.
Right. Well, they found out a lot of stuff like this.
So these things affect a lot of babies different ways, because no matter what, when you get pregnant by somebody else, it's their genetics mixed with your genetics mixed with the drugs that they're giving you. So now all this coming together is not always a recipe for good.
Well, do you have the clip of what she says in response? And if you don't, I have some examples that I know.
No, go ahead. I don't
humans.
have that.
Like the response.
We're gonna take a quick minute break from there, and then we'll be back in a moment.
Okay.
We'll be back in a moment. It's going to be 49 seconds. We'll be back in a moment.
The response that Kamala gives speaks to the tragic, difficult situations that women are put in, and that women can now not get the health care that they need for themselves and their unborn children. They cannot get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? These kids. Mr. Direct, what the hell you expect?
What the hell you expect?
Mr. Direct, mouth to your ears, let me straight for your chest. Oh, no talking, no issue, no subject, nobody that he won't talk about.
Mr. Direct,
give you his whole damn truth for nothing.
We're still here. It doesn't make a difference. So we're back. So you were talking about her response.
Oh, her response, which was, I thought, really powerful, points to no woman, young woman, girl wants to, and very infrequently want to end a pregnancy. These are very traumatic situations where perhaps they have to. I know for a fact of a number of situations, including one where someone was pregnant. They got the scan at the age that you can see certain things. They got very bad news that this baby was going to be either extremely unwell or die immediately after birth, right? The doctor's, opinion would have been to terminate the pregnancy, but this person was from Texas. Mm-hmm. This happened this year. And they only had a matter of days for it to be even legal in other states to terminate the pregnancy. And this person, because of their means, because of their ability to do so, and flew to another state and got it, dropped everything, took the days off, flew to another state, and terminated the pregnancy. This was traumatic for this woman, this family. This was not something she wanted to do. This was a wanted child. And sometimes things happen, right? And, there's many other cases, by the way, where abortion is healthcare for women. If you have an ectopic pregnancy and there's an egg in your fallopian tube. There was a story on, recently about a woman who wanted to get pregnant, had an ectopic pregnancy, needed, again in Texas, needed an emergency surgery, which her doctors were afraid to give her because of all of this new stuff going on. And she ended up losing that fallopian tube. And now when she does want to conceive, she does not have the same chances. So it's just detrimental to women's health care and autonomy over their bodies.
But and what you're saying is 100% true. I think the problem I have is how they try to trivialize it. And he said Democrats and Republicans wanted this to go back to the states. That's nonsense. First of all, states' rights has been an issue on the Republican side because the Republicans wanted to say, and again, we're going to say it goes down to racism, which so many of you hate to admit. They wanted to be ability to be able to say, if we don't want to give blacks and browns and yellow people the rights to do anything, we could do it legally. We don't think the federal government should tell us what to do in our state.
Right, because different states are different, as you're talking about.
Culturally.
It's like the North versus the South versus the Midwest versus the West.
And they've been arguing that since slavery was abolished.
Right.
That this should be a state right.
Well,
if you go back, hold on for a second. If you go back to the 1950s, The Ku Klux Klan's members because remember, there used to be a huge segment in office of Klans people as senators and representatives.
Yeah.
They used to
That's why they wear
run on
masks.
abolishing the 14th Amendment, which basically gave people their rights within this country.
Right.
So the problem that you have with that is Trump and his cronies are using that now. Instead of saying let's abolish the 14th Amendment, they're claiming they just say states' rights.
They say states' rights.
Because as long as you can say states' rights, you're not talking about getting rid of the Constitution, changing the Constitution. You're just saying the states should have a right. Now, with that being said, there's a couple of states that now are thinking about putting across that it's illegal to marry interracially. Why do you think they're coming up with that? They're coming up with that because white babies are not being born at the same rate as black and brown and Hispanics.
People.
So what they're saying is, hey, if we know that we can outlaw interracial dating, then a lot of these white women that like black men or like Spanish men, their only option will be white men. So they will have to be with a white man and have kids.
Any of these human rights
it's a way of saying
silly.
If we can control, we could get it, which goes back to the white replacement theory. Period.
Great replacement theory.
The great white replacement theory. So when a lot of you say that this has nothing to do with racism is such a disgusting major issue behind having somebody like Trump, who's not a lackey. What's the other word when they say that you're just you're a dummy on top? Like you're just an idiot. Like you're that.
I mean, he's certainly enabling it to happen. He's making space for it. He's allowing it. I'm reading the 14th Amendment right now, and it's really funny because it's actually like, if we were actually looking at it, this doesn't line up because it says no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States.
That's why they want to get rid of it.
Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. And then it says that everyone should have equal protection of the law. Like, where's my protection as a woman to get to choose what to do with my body?
This is why they want to get rid of it. This is why they want to get rid of it.
And you know, the thing I dislike the most when people try to talk against that is they like to bring up the vaccine. Nobody was going to jail if they didn't get vaccinated. It was like, you can't go to that concert. Like, you can't go to that restaurant. Okay, that is a choice. There were institutions, particularly places like hospitals and healthcare institutions, which were requiring it for work. I understand that is really challenging for people, but this is false equivalency.
It is. So there's another thing that we want to talk about from this video that from the debate that was huge. When he was challenged. Now, the next clip I'm going to play for you guys, pay attention to the question and listen carefully.
Yeah, the question and the answer.
To the answer.
I know where you're going with this one.
Play careful attention to the question
from the moderator,
and listen carefully to the reply. Simple as that.
I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so, that would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border?
First, let me respond as to the rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country, and if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela or...
I'm gonna before you start. Hold on for a second. First of all, I want to say this. Before you start, turn your volume down. We're live. Why does the volume?
I'm not technologically.
I know it happens. I'm not worried about that. I want to say this. What the fuck does your crowd size have to do with what's going on in this country? Oh, they want to take the country back. You don't need rallies in order to.
Well, he didn't answer the question.
He didn't. Well, I'm saying I was going to get to that. He's not answering the question. He took the bait from her like an idiot and had to talk about his crowd size and has to prove to everybody he's got a little dick.
Right.
That's little dick syndrome. I got to prove to you how big and bad I am.
Small
because
energy.
I can't have anyone think that people, which they've shown videos of people walking out of his fucking rallies. It happens. But he's got to let you know that everybody is mesmerized behind everything he says. And here's something I got to say to you.
Beautiful presence.
Even bands get tired of touring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even bands get tired of touring. You know why he's not tired of touring? Because he needs the constant adulation of people thinking he's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And he's using that as leverage to say, this is how I'm going to get to be president because I'm popular. And the more I do this, the more popular. Every rally is a greatest hits. Every rally, it's a greatest hits.
Both sides.
It's the greatest hits.
They're coming, they're saying what they're going to do. Like, so this is what I wrote down as I was watching it because I wanted to, the moderator asks, why did you kill the bill that would have put all these agents on the borders? He immediately responds by talking about his rallies to start. Then he quickly pivots to, instead of talking about why he killed the bill, he talks about the people pouring in, and very soon he's talking about the eating of dogs and cats. These are racist dog whistles, and then he ties a nice bow on it by saying, if we don't stop this, we are going to be Venezuela on steroids. Need I say more? He did not even answer the question. Why did you stop the border bill? Which you and I know he stopped the border bill because he wants to do the border bill. He doesn't that was a bipartisan bill that Kamala supported. That would have already started this process. So when anyone wants to start in on her and the border, it doesn't make any sense. You claim
that you're for America, but while you're not the president
in office and you don't get credit,
you're willing to tank it and let the situation get worse so you can run on it. If you can't realize how demented and selfish that is.
Well, that's why it's nobody wants to give credit on the right wing for Biden stepping down. They want to call it a coup. Biden chose country over position. That's what he did.
Which you do know Gerald Ford called that years ago. What? Gerald Ford said we're probably going to get a woman president, but what's going to happen is the president's going to have to step aside.
Yeah.
And a woman's probably going to be the vice president.
And then she'll
run.
That's interesting. I'd love to see more
she
about
might
that.
be president or she'll run. It was one of the. It was either he either said she'll be the vice president. Huh. He'll step aside and she'll become president.
Yeah.
Or I forget the exact verbiage, but he called it just like that. He said the president is going to basically step aside.
Yeah, it was something that why would men want women to be president?
And I understand partially the indoctrination of our American society. I do believe Hillary Clinton would have made a good president. I didn't like her. But I believe she would have
maintained the status quo of the Democrats.
She would have, but at the same time,
she was a great Secretary of State.
She also, because she was a great Secretary of State,
well respected.
She was a decent. I will say this: she also knew how to deal with Putin because Putin didn't want her.
Right.
Putin didn't want
She
her
was
in
well
office.
respected on a global level.
They loved her because she was part of the system. She's from the 1970s, graduated from a great school. She was smart as a whip.
Yeah,
and
still is.
She's one of those old school women that understood how to play with the big boys because she had to blend in with the big boys.
Well, right. She had to kind of so when she
had to
talks
be,
about breaking the glass ceiling,
yes,
I think she actually achieved that.
Yeah.
Without winning.
I didn't like her because it seemed like she placated towards black people. Oh, I carry a bottle of hot sauce with me, dumb shit like that.
The Clintons are from Arkansas.
Yeah, but
black people loved the Clintons.
That still annoyed me.
The Clintons. It annoys you. A lot of things annoy you, Marklyn.
Yeah, but that annoyed me. But on a reality side, I think the truth is that the world leaders that like Donald Trump are the ones that know that they could play him. And I'm going to give you an example. Don't interrupt. Just understand what I'm about to say.
Don't interrupt.
The Saudis played Trump. They played him because they made him agree. He went to them. They remember when they killed that journalist? Mm-hmm. And they were getting a lot of shit for it because Trump wasn't saying anything, right? Mm-hmm. Trump wanted lower gas prices, right? The Saudis were like, and? Now we're all sitting at home because of COVID.
Right.
Nobody's using gas.
Right.
So supply and demand.
Right.
But Trump wanted to act like I lowered the gas while everyone's sitting at home. Like this is a great deal for us.
Right.
Depending on him staying in office. Right? So he could run on that and say, I lowered your gas prices. So, and then if you pay attention to Trump, when he ran, he said, if you don't elect me, those gas prices are going to go up to $6 and $7 and $8. Why did he know to say that? He struck a deal with the Saudis the deal basically was a 2-year deal that he signed. Mm-hmm. Lowered the gas. It decreased production.
Okay.
Right? It decreased production while we were away at home with COVID.
Right.
Less people driving.
Right. Okay.
In return, he was like, well, the Saudis said they had nothing to do with the killing. And he also got the Saudis to buy weapons from us. Mm-hmm. Right? And I might be conflating some of the information. You can go look it up. The Saudis, in turn, signed a 2-year deal with him to lower production. So now when they lowered production, gas prices dropped because OPEC controls the oil, not us.
Well, that's the thing. The president doesn't control it.
Our oil, when they claim oil independence, doesn't make a difference. OPEC controls the price because OPEC is the majority owner of oil. So they control the overall price of it. Mm-hmm. Ours is like, I think they said 5 to 10 cents difference. Right. OPEC is the one that's like, it could be $1 swing depending on what they do. Mm-hmm. When we came out, supply and demand. So production was low. Now demand was high. Now OPEC is making record profit, right? Mm-hmm. Biden comes in office and says, what can we do? And OPEC was like, fuck you. We're making record profits.
Of course.
Trump signed the deal.
Always about the money.
Trump signed this deal until April of 2022. Right? Okay. So after that, when people blamed Biden, which I'll always tell people this, Trump struck deals for his favor, meaning he would look good to the American people and not for the longevity of Americans.
Well, it's, right.
For as long as he was being in office and could renegotiate these deals, because his whole thing was, and I'll say it again, he hated that Obama was going to be more famous than him. He hated it. And when Obama trolled him at the journalists, when Obama trolled him, that's when he decided he was going to run. And he was determined to be a more famous, more popular. But Trump's going to go down.
He's the most popular.
He's the most hated. And he can't. That's why he keeps saying how Joe Biden's the worst. Because he wants. He needs to conflate that message. Because his base, sadly, and I would say probably 30% of his base, believes every word he says.
So from the mental health perspective, watching this debate was like watching clinical narcissism.
Yes.
on display.
There was a doctor that watched it and said that.
There
it was like, this is a narcissist on full display.
There is the amount of lies and deflection, the inability to look at her. Again, it was like persistent throughout. And again, if you just go back to that question by the moderator, why did you kill the border bill? Well, there were people at my rallies, and people are pouring in and they're eating cats and dogs. That is like it's the gaslight.
Now, here's the thing about the cats and dogs that really pisses me off. It was a lady from Canton that wasn't a Haitian immigrant that had a history of getting in trouble with the police. That's number one. They got her on camera. She admitted she ate the cat, whatever it was. It was one woman.
Right.
My problem with the GOP is they'll take a 1%, which this is a 0.00001% truth, and they'll conflate it. They'll conflate it like it's coming to your town. You better be careful. If a Haitian comes to your town, they might want to eat your cat.
What I think that it's
the fear mongering.
And the other thing, if we're talking about like great replacement theory, is that Haitian people are what color, Marklyn?
Black.
They are black. And animalism was something that the slaves were,
which takes me back. Oh my God!
Do you
remember Little House on the Prairie?
People are not eating the fucking animals.
Do you remember Little House on the Prairie?
I sure do.
Okay.
I was a huge fan.
So there was a character. So Mrs. Olsen was a racist piece of shit.
Yes.
Right?
That was so obvious.
She was very much racist.
I mean,
Joe
we all
Keegan,
knew that, right?
Joe Keegan was the black guy that was living on the outskirts of town.
Right.
He wanted the opportunity to come to church and praise like the rest of them.
Yeah.
But he was the only black guy. There's a scene.
Walnut Grove.
There's a scene in Little House on the Prairie where she says, well, they've got their own shit. They've got that voodoo and all that other stuff. Mind you, he wasn't doing voodoo. He was reading from the same Bible they were reading from. He was practicing the same.
But that is just a trope. It's a racist trope.
But my point was, Donald Trump did this on purpose because you should fear the Haitians, and it's these immigrants are coming and they're not like us. His otherism.
They are not like us.
They're not like us.
Cats and dogs.
Yes. They're going to eat your cats. And this is coming from a man that doesn't have a pet.
But it's even the way
this is coming from a man that doesn't have a pet.
It was the way he fucking said it. They're going to eat your cats and they're going to eat your dogs. Like, if a woman somewhere ate a cat or a dog, does that mean Haitian immigrants are going to eat your cats or dogs? How does that not scream racist dog whistle?
It's, again, those people are not like us. Those people they're going to eat your cats. Like they're going to eat your dogs. They're going to do what they do. Now, with that being said.
It's funny when you said that. I thought you meant those people, meaning the 45th president of the United States. He's not like me. He is not like me.
And I'm going to tell you this. So I responded to somebody's thread, and we were talking about earlier when we walked in. I responded to somebody's thread, and I said, listen, you don't have to like Kamala. That's your right. You don't have to like her. And a couple of weeks before that, somebody said that my old teacher on her thread said, at the bottom of it, she goes, yeah, some people are not voting for him because they don't like him. And I'm like, but when you don't vote for somebody, it's because you don't like them.
Are we allowed to use our internal guidance system, which I really have my clients rely on? Like, we work a lot on self-trust in sessions. And like, how do you feel? What do you notice in your body? When my stomach turns when listening to a person, and I have my alarms going off, and I have a good bullshit radar. I know not to vote that person into a place of power. Now, again, though, people will say that about Kamala, it is everyone's right. But when you look at like the statements and the delivery, it just doesn't add up. It baffles me. It confuses me. I said to someone, like, I understand you have different opinions. You have a right to your opinion, and I can understand and respect that. I just can't understand how you could have that opinion.
There's that.
And maybe this is morals and values. There's that.
What it is, and I spoke about it in my book, and I'll say it 20 million times over. America as a whole, if you are 35 plus years old, you grew up with an indoctrinated racist belief, even if you're black. If you look at the education system that you get in the suburbs, now it's different.
Yeah.
But if you go back to, again, I'm 51. So if we go back 15, 20 years, if you were getting a regular history book, if you were looking at TV, and I'm good, you know what? Here's the prime example. 2 great shows that they had on TV, Friends and Seinfeld. How many black people were on those shows?
Yeah, no, none.
Okay. They did, but very marginalized. They're there, but they're not there.
Well, that's why they had black entertainment television.
Right?
Television, Marklyn.
Which people complain about, hey, like people since Trump, hey, why do they have BET? Why do they have black entertainment? Because you know what? Some people want to be able to see a TV show with all black characters. Because guess what? For some of us, we only see black people unless we freaking go to work.
But that's why the Cosby Show is such a big deal. I mean, too bad he fucked that up. But like,
it is.
That was a big deal to see that. There was
But what I'm saying out of that was white people and black people, and I'm more sickened to say I see a lot of Spanish people do this because they want to be affiliated with the white people and not with the black people. But the problem that we have, and I'm gonna say this 20 million times, is that racism is an indoctrinated, accepted mentality, and so many people are so okay with it that they will smile to a black person's face and say it's about the economy, and it's about the economy for you because you're not affected by all these other things that these assholes are doing. Well, hold on. You are affected by the economy. I get it. But you're ignoring all the policies and all the other shit that they're trying to pass in the background to change America. When you look at Project 2025, he wants to reshape the government, and they already did this. And one of my friends that was there last night, we were talking about it. When he came into office, he put people in charge that said, we want to see your Facebook and your social media. And if you said something about Trump we don't like, we might not fire you, but we're going to remove your clearance.
Right.
He was doing that subtly already. Project 2025 says they want to do it on a large scale. Who did that? The Nazis did.
Sure, it's right out
and
of
they're going to all these Republicans can scream all they want that it's the Democrats that are fascists. It's in Project 2025. They've said it. Hold on. Yeah. They said it out loud. Trump has said it out loud. We're going to place the people who do our civil services. They have to be loyal to me.
Yeah.
How do you do that? You go through their life and you get rid of, if they say anything that's pro-Democrat, pro-liberal, you get rid of them. That being said,
they were already doing that, Marklyn. I know somebody whose husband, who was a judge in Florida, was fired from his position during Trump's term. It's like a good friend of a good friend. And that actually happened.
If you want to talk about he's protecting freedoms, that's not freedom. Freedom means I could think how I want, you could think how you want. We could discuss it and agree to disagree. Mm-hmm. But the minute, like when people come on my thread and mock my post and then say stupid shit underneath, I had to tell a guy today, I was like, dude, don't come on my page with your mocking tones. You want to have a conversation, we can have a conversation. The mocking tones are not accepted by me anymore. Before it used to be funny, it's not funny anymore. The reason why it's not funny is because this guy is openly saying he wants to take away people's rights and lying to other people and saying that's not what he's doing. Most of the people that wrote Project 2025 are Trump appointees that used to work with him.
Of course. But by the way, you know about Project 2025. I know about it. He claims to have nothing to do with it. It's his former employees or current employees. And I was sitting here in my town at a hair salon talking to a woman I haven't seen in a long time, kind of like didn't know, gauging her policies. And she said something to me about, I don't like how they are, going to take away women's rights. So I'm assuming, okay, so she's liberal. And I said something about Kamala. She said, yeah, but I wish it was somebody else. I wish it wasn't her. And I was like, what do you mean?
Because she's black. Because she's black.
Probably,
she's a black woman.
But I don't know that this woman consciously knows that. But what was really interesting, I said, well, have you taken a look at Project 2025? Like, I've not read all 900 pages, but I've looked. She goes, what's Project 2025?
Because they don't want to know about it.
Like, it is, right. Like, it's like, depending on what news channel you watch, which is why I don't get my news from the television. And by the way, when I do, in my house, we turn on all the channels.
I don't look at any of them. What I do is I read the articles.
No, but
I do more fact finding. I go to Fox. I will read what Fox says.
Well, I watch Fox.
Well, I don't watch Fox. What I do is I read the articles.
Different.
I'll read the articles. Maybe watch a clip here and there.
Yeah.
But what I do, which I have to do, is I go and look up the information. For instance, this is I'm gonna play this real quick so you guys can see this. This piece right here is so factual, and Trump was on point with this. This is about NATO. It's conflated. It's conflated with facts.
It's not factual. He exaggerates
the
numbers.
So here we go. But
big
this was
time.
factual what he said. So here you go.
I want to turn to the war in Ukraine. We're now 2.5 years into this conflict. Mr. President, it has been the position of the Biden administration that we must defend Ukraine from Russia, from Vladimir Putin, to defend their sovereignty, their democracy, that it's in America's best interest to do so, arguing that if Putin wins, he may be emboldened to move even further into other countries. You have said you would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight. How exactly would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I want the war to stop. I want to save lives that are being people being killed by the millions. It's the millions. It's so much worse than the numbers that you're getting, which are fake numbers. Look, we're in for 250 billion or more because they don't ask Europe, which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe like I did with NATO. They paid billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars when I said, either you pay up or we're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250 to 275 billion. They're into 100 to 150. They should be forced to equalize. With that being said, I want to get the war settled. I know Zelensky very well, and I know Putin very well. I have a good relationship, and they respect your president, okay? They respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him? Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin, hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That war would have never happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? He's here. Mr. Direct, what the hell you expect?
What the hell you expect?
Mr. Direct, mouth to your ears, let me straight for your chest. Oh, no talking, no issue, no subject, nobody that he won't talk about.
Mr. Direct,
He can give you his whole damn truth for nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, we're back, and we're about to round this up. I'm going to admit that this election is a little bit traumatic. It's more so traumatic to me because I think a lot of people say idiotic shit. Mm-hmm. And then when you call them out for it, they try to laugh in your face like you're not intelligent enough to know what you're talking about.
Well, I think that was what you said, like how people talk to you. The one time, like I have a woman who is a Trump supporter that I know, and and she and I talk back and forth, and we disagree, but it's not nasty. Her daughter came and commented on all my comments, and I counted 10 times that she either name called me or insulted my intelligence. And I wrote them all down because I was pissed. And I will tell you, I had already said I was bowing out. I didn't respond. She didn't like it. She came back better again and insulted me. And I was like, I am out.
And that's how I am.
And you know what I'm doing for my mental health? What I am doing for my mental health, when somebody who is really pissing you off as far as what they're posting shows up in your news feed, only if it shows up in your news feed on Facebook, for example, and that's where a lot of these conversations happen for me, you can take those 3 little dots in the corner and you can snooze them for 30 days. And I did that last election, and it's more, I'm not unfriending anyone. I can still go to their page. I can still commute, but I'm just like, I don't want to see stuff that is so triggering.
I do that.
And it's not to be in an echo chamber.
I always laugh at people. So somebody just posted this thing about the employment status and the employment, right? The employment numbers and the market numbers from when Trump left office to what they are now, right? And some guy underneath, which typical white guy with the sunglasses, because that is the most dumbest picture ever. It's basically, I don't want you to identify who I am while I'm saying this dumb shit, right?
Right.
So he does that, and he goes, I think you need more context. And I said, typical Republican talking point. When the numbers don't line up to what you want to say and push as bullshit, it's we need more context. But when someone pushes a lie that you want to buy into, it's this is just the facts. Then he tries to reply and goes, I didn't say anything about either side. I go, dude, again, anybody with common sense can see what you just did. Those are the actual numbers. You're basically saying you don't want to believe the numbers because it doesn't line up with what you want to believe. And this is the problem. Facts don't give a fuck about what you want to believe.
Well, that's
facts
why you don't have to
facts.
You don't have to fact check someone who is stating facts.
Facts are facts. If I'm wrong, I always tell people, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong and show me I'm wrong. When you show me something based off of your opinion and you go and Google and look up all these sites that confirm your opinion with more opinion, but I could go and look up the actual fact, your opinion is not a fact. And that's the problem. That's
what makes you so angry.
Trump is trying to tell these people your perception, even though it's your opinion of the reality, is the truth, and they're wrong. Again, when he came into office and he said that he had the biggest audience ever for his inauguration, but the cameras showed otherwise, well, we have alternative facts. That's what, remember? Well, we have alternative facts.
And the thing that makes you the most angry, and I'm wondering if you would like, we could finish up with a little somatic exercise because you're angry about this.
Fuck that.
And you should be. How about real quickly? I want you to do a little autonomic noticing. No. Tell me how you're feeling.
No, I'm going to use this rage to go on stage.
No, it's okay. You're going to have it.
I need this rage to go on stage.
Right now, how do you feel?
Right now?
You feel angry.
Oh, no. Right?
I
got a little, I'm like laughing already.
Oh, see, okay. This is what I would have.
You didn't see me starting to chuckle?
This is what
that's how I deal with it. You
can be angry and chuckle, bro.
No, I let it, when I say it.
Can I share?
Hold on for a second. What people don't understand is I'm cycling through the anger moments when I'm saying it. I sent something to you. Remember
You're feeling some of it, which I appreciate.
Do you remember when I shared my the comedy set with you?
Yeah.
And you were like, "Oh my God, that was really good."
Yeah.
That was me angry because they were fucking with me the minute I walked on stage.
So you're channeling your anger.
I had the mic, and my attitude is when I get the mic, I'm in control of this space. This space at this point is mine. And what you heard on that clip was me running the shit out of it.
Well, you were taking your anger and using it. Now, for our audience who might be feeling angry, having heard your anger, if the first thing I'd have them do is say to themselves, I feel angry. They're recognizing the state they're in. I feel angry.
Okay.
That's recognizing and naming it. Second thing they want to do is normalize it. That's pretty human of me. It's okay to feel angry.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Situation. Third thing, All I'm asking you to do is invite in a moment of what we call our shop talk ventral vagal down regulation. We're calming the nervous system down. You're going to invite something in that helps you to calm down. So I might say, now I'm going to go take a deep breath, maybe take a little walk, maybe hang out at my sister-in-law's and barbecue. And that's what I'm doing today. So that's how we, you're angry. You're allowed to be angry. It's normal to be angry. And make sure, everyone, today that if you're feeling angry, if you're feeling frustrated, you surround yourself with some like-minded people and you allow yourself to chill, because we all got to chill sometimes for our own mental health.
You sure about that?
Except for Marklyn.
No, I'm just asking, are you sure about that?
I'm sure.
Are you positive about that?
I'm positive about
okay.
that.
So this is what we're gonna do. So this is what we're gonna do, because I just want to give people, because now that I spoke about what happened, I'm gonna share that comedy set with them.
Oh, you're just gonna play it for them?
I'm gonna let them.
Okay, we're gonna go out on that comedy set.
Yeah,
it was a short one, like 7-8 minutes, something like that.
It was like a quick 8 minutes. It wasn't that long at all.
He's a funny guy. He's not always angry. Well, he claims it comes from his anger. I don't know.
It's.
However
I will say this.
Want to take it.
It's, for some reason, I don't know why. Mm-hmm. When I'm angered, I am able to execute with hilarity.
Hey, you're taking, it's energy. It's a strong energy, that's for sure.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I did it the wrong way. So give me a second. I knew I fucked something up.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I knew I fucked something up. So give me a second. I always screw something up some way, somehow. Because, you're constantly moving and grooving and trying to figure stuff out.
This is not only our co-host here, but this is our producer in the house.
Yeah, don't.
This is all happening in real time.
It is happening in real time. Leave me alone. Why do you continue to try to mess with me?
Am I messing with him? You sound like my 15-year-old daughter.
You're like, I'm going to mess with him.
Who thinks that my presence is just there to piss her off and annoy her.
But in a way, you're trying to, and I see it. So we're going to let it go.
Oh my God, to be his parent. I can't even imagine what it would have been.
So,
like
ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let you guys hear
right.
my jokes, and then we're going to exit out the show. As usual, it has been my pleasure to be here with you, hanging out. We had a great conversation.
Mine as well.
It has been self-help for assholes per usual. This is what we do. Ladies and gentlemen, always remember one thing. Always remember one thing.
I don't know if I should
get help for your shit.
Get help for your shit. Talk about it, man.
Talk about
it.
Embrace
feelings.
it. Feel the feelings and let it be. It's your man, Mr. Direct, along with
Tammy Spiewak.
And it's actually Marklyn T. Johnson. But damn it, I'm Mr. Direct just for this segment. I'm out.
Hey, you said give it up for me. All right, we're going to keep the show going. This next comic is very funny. Give it up for Mr. Direct. Make a pass. Hell yeah. Give it up for him.
The fuck you mean there's another one? Holy shit, there's another guy on stage that wants to tell us jokes that we paid for. Get the fuck up and let me do my job. How the fuck y'all doing?